All right, well, 9. Yes, we're ready. 9. Coming up here first.
Ready, Judge?
Yes, we're ready.
Ready. Judge, all right, for the jury.
Yes.
First row, it has the number 1 on the
Yes.
chair.
Yes. And tell them
Number
to
8.
be correct. 9.
Second row.
Hopefully.
Have a seat.
Oh,
15 on the bench. Thank you. Next row. Have a seat. Grab your number.
All right, everyone, please be seated. All right, everyone, good afternoon. There's like no responses. Everybody is saying. I'm like, all right, let's try that again. I think the attorneys are asleep, the jurors are asleep. All right, everyone, good afternoon. We can do a little bit better. I know lunch wasn't so heavy. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. All right, you're here for jury selection. You are in the 187th District Court on the 4th floor, and I am Judge Stephanie Boyd. What floor are you on? All right, so a lot of people are acting like we're singing Old Lang Syne, where you know the first few words and then you trail off. So I'm going to repeat myself. You're on the 4th floor in the 187th District Court, and I'm Judge Boyd. So where are you? What's the court number? Who's the judge? All right, so I know what you're probably saying. We know where we are. Why is she asking us this? We've been standing outside in the hot hallway. This is why I ask people that, because sometimes we'll take a break during jury selection. And when we take a break, everyone must leave the courtroom and then you will come back. Believe it or not, people get lost. And I've had some people tell me, well, I looked up, everybody was gone. I didn't know where I should be. And then I will have some people who will tell me, Well, I thought it was down at the other end of the courtroom. The deputies have found people going to another jury room, trying to get selected on their jury. So if you are ever lost when we take a break, you'll know, fourth floor, 187. If you don't remember that, if you just remember the last name Boyd, I'm the only Boyd judge in the entire courthouse. So if you remember those things and you get lost, someone will be able to direct you where you need to go. All right, this is the case of the state of Texas versus Jose Gilberto Del Bosque. Could I have parties introduce themselves for the state?
Hi, guys. I'm Allie Jackson.
Hey, y'all, I'm Zach Dunn.
Defense
Gary Chirac.
Paul Smith.
and Mr. Del Bosque, if you'll introduce yourself.
Jose del Bosque.
All right, you may be seated. Does anyone here recognize any of those parties who have just introduced themselves to you? If you do, raise your card. All right. Now, there are very important people in this courtroom. Of course, the parties, but most importantly, to my left, the court reporter. Maria, could you raise your hand, please? That is the court reporter. I always said if I were ever in a position to make somebody's job easier, I would try. So here's the good news. We are all in a position to make somebody's job easier, and that's the court reporter. Court reporter has to take down everything that everybody is saying. So if you can imagine, some people talk softly. Some people talk very fast. Some people talk very slowly. If everyone can agree to speak with the same tone that I'm speaking in and speak at the same pace that I'm speaking at, it will make her job so much easier. So can everyone in the back hear me? All right, so the same tone that I'm using, that's what you need to use so the court reporter can hear. And I'm going to ask attorneys, when you're speaking to one of the jurors, do not stand in front of them because that makes it more difficult for the court reporter can hear. You all have important things in your hands. Those are cards with your numbers on them. Could everyone please raise your cards that you have? And I want you to keep your cards raised, number 17 and 16, until I ask you to lower your cards. Everyone here in this box, 1 through 14, please lower your cards. 15 through 21, please lower your cards. Everyone else who has their cards remaining, look to your left, look to your right. In order for the court reporter to hear you, when someone calls on you, you'll need to stand if you can. Is everyone able to do that?
Yes.
All right, you can lower your cards. Now, I will tell you, with that, I give that instruction for every trial that we have. And we're in trial in this court almost every week. So far, no jury has been able to follow that instruction. But I'm going to tell you what I've told past jurors. I have faith in you. So I know that you all are going to be able to follow that. Now, this is a criminal case. This is a criminal court. The charge in this case, and I'm just going to tell you what the charges are, and then I'll probably talk to you some more about the charges. The charges in this case, my understanding, there are 5 counts in the charge, and each count is aggravated sexual assault of a child. Now, what I can tell you is when the state and the defense talk to you, they are going to be speaking to you in hypotheticals. Neither the state nor the defense can tell you what they think this case is about or what they think the facts of this case are about. So whenever they're talking to you, do not be thinking in your mind, oh, so this is what this case is about. No, it's not, because they're not allowed to give you any facts. Does everyone understand?
Yes.
Now, I understand sometimes when people hear different cases, they're like, oh, why me? Why did I get selected to sit on this type of case? Sometimes people are like, why can I be in traffic court? Why can I be in juvenile court? Why couldn't I be on the civil side? Well, this is the United States of America. And guess what? Cases need to be tried and people need jurors that can be fair. So when the state and the defense talk to you about this case and they ask you, can you be fair? Let me tell you what that means. The state and the defense sometimes will give you a hypothetical. The hypothetical I noticed that they give is they will say, let's assume you're coming down for jury duty and you discovered that your car has been broken into. Somebody's taken the steering column, you can't drive it. But because you're a citizen and you want to fulfill your duties, you catch an Uber, you catch a Via after you file a police report and you come down for jury selection. And you find that you're going to be on a case that involves somebody's vehicle being burglarized. Does everybody understand my hypothetical?
Yes.
Then the next question people will ask you, well, that's probably not a good case for you to sit on, right? Would you agree with me? And sometimes people be like, yeah, I agree. That's not the legal question. This is what can be fair means. If you had your vehicle burglarized and you're sitting on a jury for burglary of a vehicle, this is what fairness means. Will you be able to listen to the facts of that case and base your decision, if you come to a decision, on whether that person is guilty or not guilty of burglary of a vehicle based upon the facts that you hear? Or are you going to base it upon what happened to you? That's all fairness is. Because guess what? Nobody came in here, just got born yesterday, slept all last night, nothing happened in their life. Everybody who comes to court has something that has happened in their life. For example, if there were a case involving someone being beat up, right? I'm sure there are plenty of people in here who know somebody who's been beat up before. And you say, oh my gosh, that's what I come with. Well, in order for you to be fair, it's whether or not you can listen to facts of a case and base your decision on whether someone's guilty or not guilty based upon the facts that you hear in a specific case. Does everyone understand?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's what fairness means. Now, I want to talk to you about indictments. Indictments, what is it? It's just telling somebody what they're being accused of and where they need to be to answer for what they've been accused of. It's not evidence of guilt. It cannot be taken by you to mean anything. Does everybody understand?
Yes.
So let's practice raising our cards. How many people here have had a traffic ticket? All right, that's a trend that continues. We have a lot of bad drivers in San Antonio. All right. So I've had a traffic ticket in my life. It was when I was, I think about 2021. So I'm 23 now. So, okay. So this is when I received my traffic ticket. That was when officers had the paper and they would tell you what they thought you did. And then they would hand you a ticket. And on the bottom of the ticket, it will tell you where you need to go, like municipal court, or if you just want to pay your ticket, this is where you send your money in. I know now they do electronic thing, but I'm sure for those of you who've had tickets recently, that they tell you what they're accusing you of and where you need to go to answer for the ticket. Is that correct? So when an officer pulls you over, and let's hypothetically say, they say there was a stop sign, you ran through a stop sign, and the officer gives you a ticket. When you accept that ticket, you're not saying, you're correct, I ran a stop sign. You're accepting the ticket because it's the polite thing to do. And then you will go to municipal court. And if you want a jury trial, they will have to prove that you actually ran the stop sign. Your accepting of that ticket is not evidence of guilt. It's just giving you knowledge. Because wouldn't it be strange if you received a ticket for running a stop sign, and then when you come to court, you find out, no, you're going to jury trial for failure to yield? That would be shocking. You would say, hey, I'm not prepared for this. I thought I was here for a stop sign. It's the same thing with an indictment. It's just to let somebody know what they're charged with. Does everyone understand? You cannot hold it against someone that they've been indicted. It's not evidence of guilt. It's not evidence of anything, and it can not be taken by you to mean anything. Does everyone understand?
Yes.
Is there anyone who cannot follow that instruction or that law? Raise your card. All right. The next thing I want to talk to you is the right to remain silent. This is the United States. Everyone has a right to remain silent. What does that mean? If you've ever watched Beretta, Mannix, Barnaby Jones, Paper Chase, The Practice, I'm filled with a bunch of young people here who have never seen any of that. Thank you. I see that you watched. Thank you, juror. All right. So what does that mean? That means that you do not have to testify if you don't want to testify. I've been a defense attorney. I've been a prosecutor. There were many reasons as a defense attorney where I would tell my client, look, it's your choice to testify or not testify, but I'm advising you not to. And here's why. Many times I would have clients who never testified before. They've never been charged with anything before. So I would prep them and I would say, yeah, this is not going to go well because you're sweating and it's just us. Sometimes I would have clients who would stutter. And then sometimes I would have clients who didn't speak the language well, the English language, and they would just feel trauma just from testifying and they wouldn't want to do it. And then sometimes I would have clients, I would say the state hasn't proven their case. There's no reason for you to testify. So there are many reasons why somebody would not testify. Here's the key, and here's the law. If someone decides not to testify, you can't hold it against them. You can't consider it. You can't be deliberating and say, well, I wonder what they would have said. This is not Bewitched. This is not with Mrs. Kravitz. You cannot consider it whatsoever. That's the law. So in this case, if Mr. Del Bosque decides not to testify, is there anyone who will hold it against him? All right. The next thing I want to talk to you is presumption of innocence. Everybody who is charged with an offense is presumed innocent. That means they don't have to prove anything. They are cloaked in the presumption of innocence. So right now, if you had to vote on whether Mr. Del Bosque were guilty or not guilty, you have not heard any evidence. He's presumed to be innocent. So what should your vote be right now? Yes. So that should be your vote. You have no evidence that's been presented to you. Does everyone understand?
Yes.
So then the next question becomes, who has the burden to prove this case? The state. The defense does not have to prove anything. When I was in law school, the way they would explain it to us, they would say, you could sit over there, defense. You all could play puzzles. You all could sleep. You guys could do crossword puzzles together. Of course, none of us would ever do that, but our professors were trying to stress to us that the defense never has the burden. They do not have to prove anything. So if you're ever deliberating on a criminal case and you're in the back of the deliberation room and you say to yourself, well, why didn't the defense do this? Or why didn't the defense do that? Or why didn't they bring me this? That means you have shifted the burden to the defense, and that is not allowed. Does everyone understand?
Yes.
The state has to prove the case. They have to prove each and every element beyond a reasonable doubt. Does everyone understand?
Yes.
Now, your next question probably is, what is proof beyond a reasonable doubt? We used to have a definition. When I was in law school, you felt like a failure and your professors made you feel like a failure if you didn't know that definition forwards and backwards. I knew it forwards and backwards. I knew where to pause for dramatic effect. I knew where to place my comma and my explanation point. I tried my first case. I recited it beautifully, I think, without stumbling over anything. After I tried my first case, guess what happened? The law changed. There is no definition for proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Definition does not exist. The state can't give you a definition. The defense can't give you a definition. because legally there is no definition for proof beyond a reasonable doubt. So when I was a defense attorney and a prosecutor, I had to figure out, how do I let the jury understand how high this burden is? So I would tell them what it wasn't. For example, next door, we have the historic courthouse. It's the courthouse with the green rooftop. They do civil cases. And the type of cases they do are your car accidents, cases involving money. So the burden of proof for the cases involving money and your car accidents, what you see the commercials about, the burden of proof is preponderance of the evidence. What is that? More likely than not. That's it. That's that burden. More likely than not, something happened. If you're ever on a criminal case, be it a felony case or a misdemeanor case, and you're deliberating in a jury room and you find yourself saying things like, where there's smoke, there's fire, more likely than not, something happened, you need to know you are using the burden of proof that's for the civil side. And you need to quickly leave there and come back to proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Does everyone understand?
Yes.
The other burden they have on the civil side, which is their highest burden, is clear and convincing evidence. Clear and convincing evidence is the type of evidence that's needed to terminate someone's parental right. That's the government saying you're a danger to your child. We can't trust you with your child. So legally, you will no longer be that child's parent. Guess what? Proof beyond a reasonable doubt is a higher burden than that. Does everyone understand?
Yes.
Now, there are two phases to criminal cases in Texas. First phase, people like to call it the innocence phase, but really it's not. The first phase is either someone's guilty or not guilty. Did the state prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt or did they not? If they did not, then you're done because your verdict is not guilty. If your verdict is guilty, then there's a second phase, and that is called the punishment phase. In Texas, the law is that anyone, be it misdemeanor court or felony court, if they go to trial, they must make an election or selection stating that if they were found guilty, who they would go to for punishment. Now, when they make that election or selection, that's not them saying I'm guilty. It's just that the law requires that before a jury is selected, you have to make a choice. If you were found punishment, who would you like to decide your punishment? In this case, Mr. Del Bosque has said if he is found guilty, he wants the jury to decide his punishment. Is there anyone here who's going to hold it against Mr. Del Bosque for choosing to make an election or selection of punishment? Anyone going to hold that against him?
No.
Is there anyone who's going to hold it against him that he has chosen the jury to decide punishment if he were found guilty?
No.
Now, the other thing I want to talk to you about is punishment. In this type of case, the range of punishment is anywhere from 5 to 99 years or life in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Now, the $10,000 fine, people will always say, what is that? Where does that go? Nobody knows. It goes into a black hole somewhere. So let's focus on the range of punishment, 5 to 99 years or life in prison. What does that really mean? That means someone could be sentenced to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way up to 99 years or to life. Does everyone understand the range of punishment? Now, with regards to the range of punishment, no one can ask you when you're being selected for a jury, will you give 5 years? Will you give 6 years? Will you give 99 years or will you give life? Because guess what? You don't know the facts of the case. Nobody can tell you what they think the facts of this case are, because the only way you will know what people think the facts of this case are is if you're on the jury. Does everyone understand?
Yes.
Yes.
So if you were to find somebody guilty of any type of case, let's go back to the burglary of a vehicle case. Normally that's a misdemeanor. But let's say you were to find somebody guilty of a burglary of a vehicle and they're coming to you for punishment. What you will need to do is whatever facts you have or that's presented to you, you would think about the entire range of punishment, then make a decision on what you deem would be an appropriate punishment. Does everyone understand?
Yes.
So in this type of case, there's a wide range of punishment. Does everyone agree?
Yes.
All right. Now, the reason why that's a wide range of punishment is because the legislature decided this was the range of punishment. And there are many fact scenarios that you can think of that maybe you want to give somebody 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 99 years, or life. But here's where the fairness comes in. The fairness comes in that you have internalized what I've said, that the range of punishment is anywhere from 5 to 99 years or life in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Does everyone understand the range of punishment?
Yes.
Now, here's the fairness too. If you were to find someone guilty of aggravated sexual assault of a child, will you be able to have listened to whatever facts you've heard for punishment and deciding whether someone's guilty or not guilty? Will you be able to listen to those facts and apply those facts to the range of punishment? Is there anyone who cannot do that? All right. Number 2. Thank you. Number 30. All right. Thank you. The next thing I want to talk to you is about languages. I think languages are beautiful. In my undergrad, grad school, and law school, I met so many people who spoke many different languages. I was raised in Louisiana, so I had an idea of where I was going to be. And people say they can always tell I'm from Louisiana when I have to say all and soul. So I always thought I would be retired at 20. And again, here I am 23 and I'm not retired, but I had an idea of where I would be. So when they brought languages to my school, we had a choice of 2 languages. And then later they brought in Mandarin. But our 2 choices were French and Spanish. So me knowing where I would be, what do you think my choice was? French. Somebody threw Spanish out just because I think they wanted to throw Spanish out. But no, it was French. So I took French, even though my classmate begged me. Tanya was like, Stephanie, Spanish is so great. Let's do this. And I said, girl, I am going to be in Paris by the time I'm 23. What am I doing? I said, I'm never going to go. I'm not going to be in Texas. I'm not going to be in Spain. I'm be in Paris. What am I going to do with Spanish? And lo and behold, here I am. So is there anyone here? English is not your first language. Please raise your card. All right, 16, 66, and 71. All right, number 16. What's your first language? Oh my gosh, that's new. How do you say hurry up in German?
Schnell, like you would say schnell, like means like hurry.
Schnell. Okay, that's a new one. I know hurry up in almost every language because that's all I could maintain. All right. Have you been able to understand everything?
Oh yeah, I just grew up in Germany, so that was technically my first language.
Okay, awesome. 66.
Spanish.
All right, see, y'all have already failed me. I had so much faith. You need to stand so the court reporter can hear.
Spanish.
All right, have you been able to understand everything? All right, thank you. All right, you guys can still recover from that. 71.
Spanish.
All right, have you been able to understand everything? All right, thank you. Now, the next thing I want to talk to you of is time constraints or travel arrangements. For example, do you have any airline tickets? You can't transfer them to my name or do anything of that nature. Raise your card if there's a time constraint. Now's the time to do it.
Might want to clarify when.
Oh, when? All right, so if you just want to make us jealous, you can tell us what you're going to be doing in September. But if you'll, I'm going to say 2 weeks, it'll probably be less than 2 weeks. But if you have anything coming up in 2 weeks and there's an issue, some other type of time constraint, now's the time to raise your card. All right. All I have in the box is 7. All right. You can lower your card after you call your number. 25, 15. Okay, 7, 15, 25, 30, 32, 35, 38.
I just need to use the restroom.
All right, so everyone, we have to wait for her to return.
Okay, I'll really quickly, I'm so sorry.
No, 60, 64, 70. All right, everyone, we'll wait for her to return. Your number?
13.
13. All right, everyone, if you have a time constraint, I'm telling you, now's the time to raise your card. If you don't raise your card now, then the ship will sail. So I have 7, 13, 15, 25, 30, 32, 35, 38, 60, 64, 70, and 73. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, can I see the state and the defense, please? No. Do you have any? All right, everyone, since the juror who needed to be excused is not one of the time constraints, I'm going to take this matter up. Juror number 7, what's your time constraint?
Can't quite hear you, ma'am. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I'm gonna be leaving out of town for work out of state,
When?
next week.
What day?
Let me check my phone.
Sure.
On the 22nd.
And what do you do?
It sells
What are you selling?
medical devices.
Okay, thank you. Number 13? Yes.
I moved out on September 20th. I'm not exactly sure if that was that'll fall in the weeks that I'll need to be here for.
All right, thank you. Where are you moving?
To another apartment on the west side.
Okay,
San Antonio.
all right, thank you. Number 15?
I have possible conflictions with school and travel, school starting on the 26th and possible travel from the 24th to the 29th.
Wait a minute, school on the 26th. And then travel, when is travel?
Possibly starting on the 24th.
What, August 24th?
Yes.
Where are you going?
Specifically, maybe to Dallas. As of right now, it's unknown, but it's progressing as if
What's happening in Dallas?
I have a family issue that I can't
Okay,
speak of.
all right, thank you. Number 25?
My dates would be August 30th through September 1st. And it would be travel to Dallas for a convention.
Are you all going together?
No.
What's the convention about?
It's in regards to, oh, it's kind of embarrassing, but plant con for plants, and we already have the Airbnb and the tickets.
Wait, Plant Con?
Yeah, like
mean-
a convention for plants.
Oh, you mean like gardenias and stuff?
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh my
kinda.
gosh.
It's a big convention, international convention. We had the tickets and the Airbnb and everything.
All right, do they still have openings?
They probably do.
All right, I'm a big plant person. My Rosa Sharon and gardenias have died.
Yeah, it's an international thing, so it's big.
I'm trying to find the black dahlia, but I'll talk to you about that later. All right, number 30?
August 30th to September 3rd, I'm gonna be visiting my dad for a family reunion in Florida.
What's the first song you all gonna play at your family reunion?
Oh, this is the first one I've ever been to, so I can't sing.
Oh my gosh, everybody knows the answer to that is family reunion, but okay. Number 32?
Through the 23rd and 26th, I'll be heading to Dallas for vacation with friends. We already had the Airbnb set up and everything.
Everybody's doing the Airbnb. All right, thank you. Well, you have two other people you can go with. 35,
I have a doctor appointment on August 27th, and then I'll also be at PlantCon in Dallas. September.
all right, wait a minute. When is your PlatCon date? When is your PlatCon dates?
It is, I'll be there the 30th through September 2nd.
All righty. Well, why are you staying there till September 2nd and she's leaving on the 1st?
It's also my anniversary.
Oh. Might I suggest it's our anniversary,
Oh.
the song. All right, 38.
I'll be traveling August 26th to
August 26th to where?
Hartford, Connecticut.
All right, what are you doing in Hartford?
I'll be attending a business trip.
All right, what is the business?
It's with a payer. I'm a vice president, and chief medical officer for a large payer.
I can't quite hear you.
I'm a vice president and chief medical officer for a payer in Hartford.
All right, thank you. Number 60.
Yes, ma'am. I'm going over to Austin next week, starting Monday, the 19th, I believe. That's also for marketing,
What are you selling?
home improvement. I also have a rental that I need to exchange tomorrow. Going through the insurance and stuff like that. I don't want to pay for that myself.
All right, number 64.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. I have an MRI scheduled at Wilford Hall at 2:00 in the afternoon on the 20th.
All right, thank you. I know it's going to go well. All right, number 70.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a medical appointment on the 23rd of August at 8 a.m. for a remission by yearly.
It's going to go well. Thank you. Number 73.
I misunderstood the question. I was just going to say that I had a full-time school schedule for.
I'm sorry, could you speak up?
I misunderstood the question, and I was going to say that I have a full-time school schedule for Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays.
When does that start?
Starting with last week.
All right, last week of this month, that's when your school starts? Okay. All right, 51 just decided to raise their card. 51, yes.
I just heard doctor's appointment, but I have a doctor's appointment on August 21st. That's been rescheduled twice.
Okay,
I need to actually attend this one.
all right.
My insurance policy will go up.
All right, thank you. It's gonna go well. 43,
Sorry, ma'am. I have a colonoscopy on the 19th of August.
all right, you definitely don't want to take.
Sorry about that.
You definitely don't want to take the medication and then not go. All right, thank you. And that's August 19th?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
All right, so all of you have had a chance to see each other speak. Other than meeting downstairs in the central jury room or standing out in the hallway, do any of you know each other?
No.
All right, that's shocking. Usually, one time we had the wife and the ex-wife. Then there's usually, they got along just fine. They were both happy. Usually we have teachers and students. All right, before I turn it over to the state, I'm going to tell you two stories, and both of these stories are true. I realize that jury duty is an inconvenience. And let me just tell you why I say it's an inconvenience. It's an inconvenience because you have to pay for parking. And I know you're probably like, we're doing y'all a favor. Why do we have to pay for parking? Then I can't do anything about that. I've tried to change that. I can't change it. You have to pay for parking. Then the other thing is there are so many one-ways downtown. And sometimes, unless you are down here often, you will drive and you will say your GPS or whatever will finally tell you the building's right there. And then you finally see the building. But then you realize you can't make that right or left turn because it's a one-way. And then you go back around the circle, praying that you remember where the spot is, and then praying that somebody will let you over. Then once you found a place to park, you get to court, and I will see you all running, and I will tell you, slow down. And people will tell me, but they said to be here at 8. I'm like, it's hurry up and wait. So you go downstairs and then there's a judge who speaks to you. And then you're waiting to be called up. And then you get called up for court. Then you're waiting in the hallway and it's hot. There's not enough seats. But I tell people all the time, 4th of July, people love the wave flags. Your government only asks 2 things out of you in life, really. Pay your taxes and serve on juries. How many people here have actually served on a jury? And when I say serve on a jury, I mean, you had a case that was sent to you and you actually had facts given to you and you were sitting on a jury. Raise your card. Everybody look around at how many people that is who have actually sat on a jury. You can lower your cards. So as you can see, your government doesn't even ask you to come down once a month or once every 2 months. For some people, this is the first time they've ever been called up. So it's an inconvenience. This is what I think of as a sacrifice. And I tell this story to jurors all the time. My uncle grew up in a small town, Grand Cane, Louisiana. All the teachers knew all the students. My uncle was super intelligent. So the teachers would say, we've taught you all we can teach you, and they put him in the next grade. And he kept getting passed to the next grade, next grade. Now, when his brother and his sisters started school, that was sort of a bad thing for them because the teachers knew that this was their brother. So they told them, we're going to be expecting a lot out of you because your brother is super smart. So my uncle graduated early from high school. And when he graduates, the Vietnam War breaks out. And he tells my grandmother, they're already drafting all of the boys here. And if I want to improve my lot in life because of the time he lived in, it's not going to prove it in Grand Cane, Louisiana. So she needed to sign for him to go serve. Now, mind you, that's her firstborn. And mothers can say whatever they want to say, but it's her firstborn that she's signing to send off to war. And back in the day, my grandmother had a television set with the rabbit ears. I know some young people don't know about that. There were 3 stations, ABC, NBC, and CBS. And you really couldn't count on NBC. NBC, you couldn't have a breeze because maybe you're going to get some lines. So the weather had to be perfect. And then you would still have to adjust the rabbit ears, maybe put some foil on it and see what will happen. The other thing about during that time period is there was no 24 hours television. There was no 24-hour news. TV just go blank. We're done. We have no other programming for you. And then when it got advanced, they would start playing the national anthem and they would just keep the flag blowing on the television set, but there would be no more news. So if you can imagine, my grandmother was sending him off. Nobody in the United States really. We're not geography savvy people sometimes, but nobody knew where this place was. There wasn't, with her phone, in order to make a phone call, there wasn't the rotary out yet. It wasn't the push tones. It was when you pick up the phone, if you want to make a phone call, when you pick it up, the operator will answer, how may I help you? And then you give them a number. That's why they had the song, Beechwood 45789, because that's the number. And there wasn't a computer. There wasn't emails. She couldn't email my uncle and say, did you make it? I'm sure it's the same way. A lot of my male family members served in the military. They have you, once you arrive, you write a letter telling people you have arrived safely, and that letter gets sent off. And then my grandmother would send a letter to him and she would wait. And she would just pray that she didn't get a knock on her door, because people quickly learned when the military comes knocking on your door, that means that somebody has died. So people were always on the lookout for that. So I always tell people that's a sacrifice. What we're doing here, coming down for jury service, that's an inconvenience. The other thing I want to tell you is about one of my friends from law school. She decided to do civil law. I always wanted to do criminal law. It's always been my passion. I always knew this is the field I wanted to be in. And because she practiced civil law, no offense to civil attorneys, but they're usually in the office. Criminal law attorneys are usually in court more than civil law attorneys. So when she got called up for jury duty, she called me and she said, hey, let's have lunch. I have jury duty. I'm like, great, let's do it. So what ends up happening is she has her lunch break. We have lunch. I ask her, how is jury service going? And she tells me it's going fabulous. Now that I'm a judge, I'm like, how could it have been fabulous? You were not with me, but that's neither here nor there. So I say, why do you say it's going fabulous? And she tells me, it's just like when I was in law school. I'm on the back row. I'm keeping my head down. I'm not saying anything. I start laughing. She's like, what's so funny? I said, we're going to be able to have lunch all week because you're going to be on the jury. So I don't know why it is, but other than raising your card and saying, please place me on this jury, the quickest way to be on a jury is to be quiet. And I tell that story, and it's a true story. The reason why I tell that to you is because the state is going to have 40 minutes to speak to you. The defense is going to have 40 minutes to speak to you. And based upon their conversations with you, they're going to have to make some decisions. So please make sure that you talk to them because they want to get to know you. And they don't have 2 weeks or 3 weeks to get to know you. This is in California. They have 40 minutes here and 40 minutes there to get to know you. Does everyone understand?
Yes.
Before I turn it over to the state, is there anyone who needs to take a break? Raise your card. All right. So I'm going to give you all a break, but listen to me carefully. Everybody has to leave for the break. Leave your cards behind. If only you knew how much time it took to make those cards. If you are taking a restroom break, find a stairwell. Wherever you go on this floor, up or down, if you see a stairway, on either side are restrooms. If you go on the first floor, see a stairway, that's where the restroom. Second, third, fourth, that's where the restrooms are. So there's no need to have a line form. You can just go down to the next floor. Does everyone understand?
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to have you all come back here. And don't come in the courtroom, just wait outside. I'm going to have you all come back at, it's 2:50. I'll just say 3 o'clock. Does that give everybody enough time?
Yes.
All right, so you're going to wait outside and everyone look to your left, look to your right. You're responsible for that person. All right, everyone, please rise for the jurors.
Don't take your card. Are we missing number 57?
All right. We're missing a juror. Everyone, please be seated. Just somebody didn't look to their left or their right. Deputy Lord, could you have them call for that juror? And could parties approach? It's 57. Could I have parties approach? And we're on the record.
Black box there, if you could please speak into that. So I can hear the numbers coming. Ready, Judge?
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. You may proceed.
Afternoon, everyone. Okay, good. We're all still awake. I know it's been a long day. Once again, my name is Allie Jackson, and this is my partner, Zach Dunn, and we represent the state of Texas. I'm gonna try to talk loud enough so everyone can hear me and talk slow enough so that the court reporter doesn't kill me. We are here for jury selection. We're here to talk to you about the law, find out a little about you guys, and find 12 people who are fair and impartial jurors for this case. Now, kind of a little housekeeping before I get into all of this. Remember to raise your cards whenever you're answering a question, and remember to stand when you're talking for those of you back there. Another thing, during the course of the trial, you may see Zach and you may see defense checking our phones. You're not allowed to do that during trial, but please don't think we're being rude. It's not like Law and Order. It's very chaotic, and sometimes we're having to check that witnesses are coming, making sure we have stuff lined up. So please don't think we're being rude if you ever see us on our phones. Now, Judge talked about fair and impartial, and I want to kind of just reiterate this again. All of this means is that you can follow the law the judge gives you, listen to the evidence that we bring during the case, and you make your decision based on the facts, the evidence, and the law given to you. That's all it is, okay? Sometimes it's easy to overthink things. I am an overthinker. Please don't do that if you wind up on the jury. So, as the judge said, we are here for aggravated sexual assault of a child. What is this? So there's 5 different counts, and I've kind of put them all together into 3 different slides, which it'll make sense. So basically what we're alleging is that on or about a certain date, the defendant did intentionally and knowingly cause the penetration of the anus, sexual organ, and mouth of Elise Morisek, a child under 17, by his sexual organ, and with the intent of facilitating the offense, administered and provided alcohol to Elise. It says Jane Doe. I'll fix that later. Further, that he did intentionally and knowingly cause the penetration of the sexual organ of Elise with his finger, once again, with all those other same elements, a child under 17, and that he facilitated the offense by administering and providing alcohol. And then also that he did intentionally and knowingly cause a sexual organ of Elise Morisek to contact the mouth of him, of the defendant. Once again, child under 17 with the alcohol. a lot simpler than it sounds. This, you don't have to learn any of these definitions. You don't have to memorize this. Whoever winds up on the jury at the very end of it, you're going to be given a jury charge. It's basically the instruction manual. It contains all of this language, definitions, and the law that the judge is going to provide you. But we're just going to be talking a little about the offense types in general and how you feel about it. So in Texas, talk about consent. This is the big thing with child sex cases, is that you notice I said nothing about consent or force, because under the law in Texas, children under 17 cannot consent. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts. Under the law, they cannot consent. It doesn't matter if they're flirting with them. Doesn't matter if they're sneaking out. Doesn't matter if they're secretly texting them, hanging out with them. It does not matter. That is the law. Hearing that, there's some people who might be like, Allie, I get that that's the law, but I disagree with it. And I'm not going to be able to follow that law. There are no trapdoors. There are no wrong answers. We just need to know, is there anyone here who says, Allie, I understand that's the law, but I cannot follow that law? Please raise your card. Okay. Now, age. Notice that I said under the age of 17. This is a hard line rule. Also, I said nothing about the defendant knowing the child was under the age of 17. It does not matter. This is a strict, hard line rule. Do this for the protection and safety of children. That's why these laws exist. It does not matter if somebody is 16 years and 364 days old. They cannot consent, and it doesn't matter if they know how old they are. Is there anyone here who says, Allie, I get that. I can't follow that. Now, before I make you commit, I do want to kind of preface this, because some people are like, oh God, when I was, 18, I dated a 16-year-old. No. That would fall in what we call Romeo and Juliet. So there's kind of a 3-year grace period. So if a 16-year-old is dating 17-year-old, 18-year-old, 19-year-old, you're fine. We're not talking about a situation like that. Knowing that caveat, is there anyone here who says, Allie, I understand they don't need to know how old the person was, but I can't follow that. I need to know that they knew how old that child was when they had sex with them. Is there anyone here who believes that? It's fair if you do. I just need to know. Do you have a question? Okay, good, yes. Okay, number 6. Anyone else? Number 34. Thank you. All righty. Now, facilitating the offense. This is a very wordy legal definition. It just basically means that with the intent to be able to have sex with the child, in this case, that's the offense, they administer or provide the victim any substance capable of impairing their ability to appraise the nature or to resist of the act or to resist the act. That's very wordy. Basically, what it boils down to, say somebody just supplies somebody, a 15-year-old with shot after shot after shot of alcohol. The kid's voluntarily drinking it, but they're providing the shots because they want to hook up. It can also go super far the other way, administering a date rape drug. There is a range. It just means that they gave them a substance or administered a substance, meaning, to help kind of get them to go along with it or to not resist. This doesn't mean that they force them to take it. Get what I mean by saying it's like, oh, you can just kind of hand them shot after shot. You can force them, but that's not what we have to prove. Is there anyone who says, if somebody's voluntarily taken the drinks, taken drugs, taking whatever, no, you have to show me that they forced them to take whatever substance. Is there anyone here who feels that way? Okay. So, judge does a really thorough job of explaining the fact that we can't explain beyond a reasonable doubt. We can tell you what it's not. It's not beyond all doubt. It's not 100% certainty. And just because you have like a possible explanation doesn't mean it's reasonable. All we ask when you're looking at the facts and listening to the evidence is to use your common sense. So here's an example I like to give. Say that you're going this weekend to watch Deadpool and Wolverine and have a great time. And as you're pulling up to the theater, this is what the sky looks like. There's been reports of rain, thank God, because it never rains here anymore. There's like the weather starting to change, the wind's picking up. Everybody's talking about the rain. You see the rains, you hear a little thunder as you're walking into the movie theater. You go and you watch Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman living it up. And 2 hours later, you come out and there's water everywhere. Your car's soaked, there's puddles, people are carrying umbrellas. A few people might be wearing rain boots. They break out once a year. What happened? It rained. Did anybody see it rain? Did any of you see it rain? No. You use your common sense. Now, is it possible somebody decided to play a prank and they got a big old hose and they sprayed everything in the parking lot down? Yeah, that's possible, but it's not reasonable. There's no other evidence backing that up. Everything points to the fact that it rained. Ask yourself, do I have a doubt? Is it a reasonable doubt? And most importantly, does it go to one of the things that Zach and Allie have to prove? So we can argue all day about how long it rained, how much like water built up. We don't have to prove that. We just have to prove that it rained. Everybody get that? Cool. Now, what is the one way to know 100% that something happened? Anybody have an idea? Juror number 19.
Witness it yourself.
You witness it yourself. And if you witness it yourself, you're going to be sitting up on that stand. You're not going to be sitting on that jury in that box. So knowing that and knowing what kind of the standard is there anyone here who says, Allie, that's great, but I cannot do that? I would make you prove your case beyond all possible doubt, or I can't be on this jury. Is there anyone here who feels that they have to have the case proven beyond all doubt? Please raise your cards. Number 12, number 30, number 2. Anyone else? Okay. So, quick thing to keep in mind, this is not Law and Order. This is not CSI. We're not going to have a bunch of things zooming in, microscopic particles. No, it's not over in an hour. This takes a while. Just don't hold us to those standards. So in a case like this, what kind of evidence do you guys expect to see? Juror number 7, what would you expect to see?
What the witnesses say or evidence.
Okay, what the witnesses have to say. I'm really glad you said that, because the number one bit of evidence you guys are going to get is testimony. Testimony is evidence. It all comes from where my other partner, Ray, is sitting on the witness stand. They come and they swear to tell the truth, and you get to listen to them and the facts and the evidence they provide, and you, as the jury, decide their credibility. Now, there might be other stuff. There might be photos, sometimes there's DNA in cases like this, but the number one thing comes from witnesses. Is there anyone here who says, no, testimony is not evidence. You have to bring me hard data? Anyone who feels that way? Okay. Now, you are prosecuting a case. Who would you rather have as your star witness? The man on the left, the lovely lady on the right. You want the pure, sweet, innocent people. Nobody's perfect. We're all humans. Everybody's going to come with baggage. You got to judge them accordingly. Raise your hand if you have teenagers or have already raised your teenagers. Yep. Keep your cards up. If any of your teenagers partied or were wild as in their teenage years. Yeah. Keep your cards up if your child is perfect. Number 2. Number 2 has the perfect child.
Night and day.
He's a lucky man. Alrighty. So if an alleged victim voluntarily drinks, and you know they're underage, because we're talking about minors here, some people might have issues with it. If they're voluntarily kind of drinking and partying, is the importance of the case affected to you? So is it for you, and we'll get to this one by one, is it the importance still high? All sexual crimes should be taken seriously. Is it medium? I'm going to have some reservations about this person. Or is it low? There's more important cases. I don't want to deal with a partier. Please raise your cards if you are a number one. All right, so we have, and you can, once I say your number, you can put it down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Then we have 22 through 29, that entire row. We have 30 through 36. Then we have 37 through 43, 46 through 48, 50, 51 through 56, 57 through 60, 61 through 64, 65 through 68, 69 through 72, and 73 through 75. Alrighty, raise your hand if you're number 2. I'm gonna have some reservations. Number 6 and number 9. You guys can go ahead and lower them. And then is there anybody out who is a 3? All right. So a bunch of you guys said you have kids. How do you determine when your child is lying to you? Any ideas? Okay. You look at their demeanor. Is that fair? Okay. Look at, do you have a motive to lie? Like, if you have a 5-year-old, and you know they love cookies, and you've told them a million times you have to wait until after dinner, and you go in to start dinner, and the cookie jar is on the floor and it's completely empty, who took it? Your 5-year-old? Well, possibly. There might be other suspects. But does your 5-year-old have a motive for taking those cookies? Yeah. Simple stuff like that. Listen to what they say. See if there's anything that backs up the story, cooperation, and look at the circumstances. So where do these types of cases occur? Like, where do child sex crimes occur? Number 21, do you have any idea?
Anywhere.
Anywhere. Do they typically occur in public, or do they occur where they can't get caught?
In private.
In private. They occur behind closed doors. The vast majority of the time, who is going to be the witnesses to this type of crime? The victim, and who else? The perpetrator. Vast majority of the time, those are the only 2 people who are going to know what happened behind that closed door. That's something to keep in mind, especially when you're talking about how kids react to stuff like this. Does everybody react the exact same way to any given situation? No. Do you think all people are going to testify the same way? No. Who here has a fear of public speaking? Raise your hand. Yeah, you're even kind of freaking out to raise your hand. Are you going to have a good time testifying if you have a fear of public speaking? No, you're not. And then think about what we're here to talk about. Juror number 7. Can you tell me about the last time you had sex? Don't answer that. How did you feel when I asked that question?
That's private.
Yeah, that's private. Juror number 14, how did you feel when I asked her that question?
A little embarrassed.
Yeah. Did you think you might be next? Yeah. These things are uncomfortable. Do you think somebody who's here to talk about what happened to them when they were sexually assaulted is going to have a good time on that stand? No. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be embarrassing. This next question is going to be a little wild, but bear with me. Raise your hand if you're a fan of sexual abuse. None of you are. Nobody wants to be here. Nobody wants to listen to these types of questions. We just ask that you please do. So to get into specifics, is there anyone here, please raise your card, if you or a close friend or family member has ever been arrested for any sort of sexual offense, please raise your card. Number 2, 10, 12, 19, 30, 33, and 36. All right. Knowing, and this is just for y'all who just answered, because of that experience, are you unable to be fair and impartial? What I mean by this, we all have experiences, we all have things that we kind of color our vision of the world. But what we ask you to do when you sit on this case is that you take those experiences, you put it aside, and you judge this case solely by the evidence and the facts presented to you and by the law. Sometimes you can't, and all we ask is that you be honest. So for those who raise your cards, can any of you just be unable to put that experience aside and judge this case? Number 2, number 30, number 33. All right. Now, the opposite. Has anyone here, you, a close friend or family member, been the victim of sexual abuse? Please raise your card. All right. Number 2, 3, 4, 7, 10, 12, 18, 19, 20, 21, 24, 25, 30, 31, 33, 34, 35, 36, 38, 39, 40, 43, 44, 45, 46, 50, 51, 52, 54, 59, 62, 65, 66, 67, 70, and 73. All right, going to be the same question. Most of us know somebody in our lives who've been touched by this. What we are once again asking is that you put that experience aside and listen only to the facts and evidence presented to you and judge accordingly to those and to the law provided. Is there anyone who says, Allie, that's great. I cannot put that experience aside. I cannot be fair and impartial. Please raise your cards. All right, number 2, 19, 20, 30, 31, 33, 34, 35, 38, 43, 51, and 52. All right. So I'm going to jump a little because Judge did a bunch of stuff on here. It's kind of my last scaled question. How do you think of the purpose for punishment? Everybody has different ideas. Some people think it's the punishment for the crime. Some people think it's deter others from committing the same type of offense. And some people think it's to rehabilitate the offender. Everyone has different opinions, and sometimes it's a combination, but I just want to know what your primary belief is for what the purpose of punishment is. So please raise your hand if you're number 1. It's to punish the person who committed the crime. Number 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 24 through 29, 30, 31, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37 through 43, 44 through 48, 50, 51 through 56, 57, 60, 61 through 64, 66, 67, 68, 69 through 72, 73 through 75. Okay, raise your hand if you're a number 2. It's a deterrent to deter others from committing the crime. Number 4, 6, 9, 23, 49, 58, and 59. And number 6. there anybody who's a rehabilitation and number 3? Number 32 and number 48 and number 65. All right. So since I have some time, I'm going to jump through. Now I'm going to ask a few of you specific questions. Please don't feel left out if you're not getting these questions. And also, because there's 75 of you, I don't have all your names memorized. So juror number 8, were you on a criminal jury previously? Okay, how long ago was that? 8 years? Was it here? What kind of case? Can you speak up just a little?
Possession of drugs, trying to think possession of drugs, not being a US citizen. It was
Was it a federal case? Okay. And did the punishment go to you or to the judge?
it was
Like mistrial or not guilty? Okay, thank you. Juror number 10, were you also on a criminal jury? What kind? Have you been on more than one? How many juries have you been on? Oh, it was in Oasis, okay. And on any of those, did you guys decide punishment? Okay, did judge do the others? Okay, thank you. All right, I'm gonna skip all the way to juror number 31. Can you please stand? Were you also on a criminal jury?
Yes, I believe so. It was the theft.
Theft. Okay, was it here in Bear County?
Yes.
Okay, and did punishment go to you guys or the judge?
It went to the jury.
Okay, thank you. And juror number 33. What kind of case was it?
It was a child molestation case. It was a federal case because it was on an Air Force base and it's involving a
I
retired
didn't quite hear you,
military.
sir. Air Force Base where?
It was a military base. That's why it was a federal case. And it was a child molestation case involving a retired military person and a child.
Okay. And how did they decide punishment over there? Does it go to you guys or the judge?
That one went to the judge.
Okay, thank you so much. And then juror number 38. Same thing for you, sir. What kind of case was it?
It was a criminal case, DWI, and we decided that.
The punishment? Okay, was it here in Bear County?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. And then next to juror number 61.
Yes,
What kind of case was it?
it was a sexual abuse.
Was it here in Bear County?
Yes.
And did punishment go to you guys or the judge? The judge. Thank you. And juror number 64. Know what I'm gonna ask? What kind of case was it?
Early 2000s, it was a Air Force case, child molestation.
And
And
did,
we, the jury, got to decide.
okay, you guys, okay, thank you so much. And then juror number 72.
Was a criminal drug charge. And it was in Boston, Massachusetts, about 25 years ago. And it was not my.
Okay, thank you so much. And then juror number 74.
Criminal case, police officer selling drugs from his police car.
Okay,
And judge did the same.
judge of the sentencing. Okay, thank you so much. Now, before I sit down and pass this off to Mr. Churek, is there anybody here who has something they think we should know in terms of deciding whether you're not on this case that you haven't shared and you maybe don't want to share with your 74 closest best friends and want to talk to us about later? Please raise your card. Number 72. And number 2, 12, 19, and 30. Alrighty, well, I'm gonna pass it on over. Thank you, guys.
All right, before I let this defense begin, I forgot to ask one question. Is there anyone here who is not a resident of Bear County? If you're not, please raise your card. All right, thank you. With that being said, I'll turn it over to the defense.
Thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court. Good afternoon, folks. The state has gone over a bunch of stuff, but I'd like to just touch on a couple of things. I know a bunch of y'all said that you had teenagers. How many of you have experienced a teenager with false ID? Anybody? Couple of you, all right? How'd you find out? Your report?
I was standing gate at Navy base in San Diego and they tried to come through with it.
Oh, okay, so you were working shore patrol or something like that?
Military police.
Okay. And you caught him with the fake ID?
Yes, sir.
All right. Keep your cards up, please. Juror 12, how'd you find out?
We was on our way to the club one night and the person that was with us got caught by a bouncer.
Some of those IDs are pretty good, aren't they? Yeah, I mean, they make them look like a real driver's license. Who else? The 22?
I work in a school, so I've taken up some IDs from different streets.
A bunch?
I would say a bunch, but throughout the years, yeah.
Oh, what, 10, 20?
3 or 4, 5,
3 or
6.
4.
Yeah, I listen to him.
Pretty good looking IDs?
Some of them are.
Yeah, look like a regular driver's license, don't it?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, how many of y'all have been in a bar or nightclub and looked over and said, boy, that person looks a little young, but I guess she's drinking, so she must be legal age. Anybody ever have that experience? Happens quite often, doesn't it? Now, when, as a hypothetical, if somebody's got a false ID, can you rely on that? If it looks legitimate and it looks like a regular Texas driver's license, would you believe that ID? Is there anybody that wouldn't believe an ID that looks good, looks just like the real thing? Anybody? So you'll agree with me, if somebody has a false ID that looks like a real driver's license, you think that's the age of that person, right? Yeah. Okay. So we talk about burdens of proof, and I think the judge went over a lot of stuff, but one of the main things, it's called voir dire, and it's a French term, means to speak the truth. In that, we're here today to try to find 12 impartial and fair jurors, because basically that's the way our system works. Back in the good old days before we had our revolution, the king sat there and decided everything. So we decided that we're going to have the peers, the jurors, decide who's guilty and who's not. And it's a high burden to sit in because you're actually looking potentially at taking away a person's freedom. So it's a very serious duty that we ask you to do. With that in mind, we ask everybody that's going to sit in that box to be fair and impartial. So there are absolutely no reservations, whatever. As an example, the judge likes to use the burglary of a vehicle situation. Okay. I got my truck parked out in the street parking up there in the meter. And I'm coming back after court. And I open my door. And it's not locked. And my radar detector's missing and a bunch of other stuff's missing. My vehicle's been burglarized. Okay. I'm mad. I get picked for jury duty. The charge is burglary of a vehicle. You think I'm really going to be fair and impartial? I mean, it's human nature. It is human nature. And in this particular case, a good number of y'all raise your hand concerning issues concerning potential sexual assault, abuse, crimes, or something to that extent. And I don't know if it affected you, a relative, a friend, a family member. I don't really want to go there. Where I really want to go is, will that experience, that seed in the back of your mind, maybe as you're sitting in that jury box, cause you to have a reservation to say, well, maybe I just can't be fair in this situation because it just hit me. So I want you to reach down real deep and think, if anybody who raised their hand, I think there's a good, probably more than half of the panel here, said they experienced it, and only a handful really said that they couldn't be fair and impartial. I'd like you to reach down deep And if there's anybody who didn't raise their hand saying that work could not be fair and impartial previously, after thinking about it, raise your card. One more, 19. I think you raised your card previously, didn't you? What number is that? 30. Yes, sir. Anybody else? Okay. So basically, I'm gonna wrap it up because the state has just basically did a good job of explaining what the jurors' duties are, and we're talking about fair and impartial, which is the main thing, following the law. There was some issue that needs to come up is under Texas law, a defendant who is convicted for an offense like this can apply for probation from a jury. With that in mind, are there any members of the jury who, upon a conviction for this case, could not consider probation? Raise your card, please.
All right, so let me just pause it for a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, when he says consider probation, this is what it means. If you were to find somebody guilty, anyone, you would have to apply whatever evidence was presented to you and make a decision on whether you think somebody should get probation, whether they should get 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, whatever it may be. Does everyone understand?
Yes.
So you would have to apply those facts to whatever you're considering. For example, both the state and the defense have said, does somebody have a fake ID? Now, the law, this is the law. Doesn't matter if someone has a fake ID or not. If a person is underage, they cannot consent to any type of sexual activity with an adult. Does everyone understand?
Yes.
Now, maybe if somebody, and these are just examples that the state has given and the defense have given. So I'm giving you these examples. And remember, this is not about this case. These are hypotheticals. So you may have someone who is at a club. The person who is at the club has a fake ID. Obviously, maybe it's a great fake ID because the people at the club have allowed them into a club that they are not allowed to be in. And let's say a club has a rule that the only way you can be in the club is you must be 21 years of age. Is everybody following my example?
Yes.
Yes. So if you are 21 years of age, under our laws, you can consent. You can consent if you're 18. Does everyone understand?
Yes.
So, but let's say hypothetically, there's a club. They say that no one under the age of 21 is allowed in this club. That people come to the club, everybody's expecting, everybody is at least 21 years or older. Now, let's say they have somebody who's great. They check IDs, they look at it, the ID, they look at the person, and they say, this looks like the person on the ID. It's great ID. They let them in. Then they have someone else come into the club and they look at their ID. They're like, it says that you're 30, but you don't look 30. So I think this may be a fake ID. So we're not going to allow you in. So person comes in. They've been checked. The person who's checking IDs thinks they are 21 years at least. The club serves alcohol. When you go to a bar, let's assume they check everybody's IDs if you want to get alcohol. So everybody who's coming up at the bar saying, start my tab. And they say, well, let me see an identification. They give them identification, they give them a credit card. Or let's say the person is paying cash. They said, well, what drink do you want? And they name a drink. Maybe it's a beer. They say, well, you know what? I got to check your ID. They look at their ID, they look at them and they say, this is a great ID. Maybe it's the Mission Impossible, Tom Cruise type of an ID. And they look at the person, they say, yep, this person looks 21 years of age. Is everybody following my hypothetical?
Yes.
Now, our law says for someone to be charged with an offense, it doesn't matter if they know how old that person is or not. But let's say you have a person who's at the club, they're over 21, they're a male, they're drinking, they're getting a little bit intoxicated. They see this person who's in the club, they really shouldn't be there because they have a fake ID and they look like they're 21. And they've been drinking, so obviously somebody's checked them. Now in that situation, and let's throw this into the mix. Let's say it's 2 a.m., right? Maybe nobody expects, and I'm just throwing out ages, maybe nobody expects a 16-year-old to be at a club at 2 a.m. drinking alcohol and have made it through all the security checkpoints to be at a club. Does everybody understand my hypothetical?
Yes.
Then let's say you have someone who's an adult. Maybe they're a little bit tipsy. Again, everybody's thinking everybody in this club is 21 or older because that's their rules. And let's say they end up having sexual contact with that person. Under our laws, guess what? That person would be guilty of aggravated sexual assault depending on the child's age. Is everyone following my hypothetical? Yes. All right. So let's say you were to find somebody guilty of that. You can consider probation all the way to 5 to 99 years of life. Does everyone understand that hypothetical?
Yes.
Now, let me give you a second hypothetical. Let's say clubs is being loose, sort of loose with checking IDs. They're like, maybe, come on in. And let's say you have a person, a male, who looks at that person, they haven't been drinking. They're like, yeah, I know she's underage, but who cares? I've seen her ID, doesn't look like her. I've checked her ID because I'm like, hey, how old are you? Really? And you start questioning, but you have an inkling, you have a feeling this person is underage, but you're like, whatever, I don't care. You know, she's here, I'm here, let's do this, right? Now, let's say those are the facts. Maybe that's a person you would say, yeah, I'm not giving that person probation because they knew or should have known. Does everyone understand?
Yes.
So the law is designed. It doesn't matter if you knew the person was underage or not. But as you can see, maybe there are different hypotheticals where there's someone maybe you would consider probation for. Maybe you consider 5 years. Maybe you would consider life. And then on the other end of the spectrum, maybe there's somebody you're saying like, no, prison. Does everybody understand?
Yes.
Now, with that being said, is there anyone who cannot consider the full range of punishment? And if you can't, raise your card.
Should we word that again?
Oh, consider the full range of punishment.
That could not consider the.
That could not. Is there anyone here who, with those hypotheticals that I've just given you, cannot consider the full range of punishment? If you cannot, raise your card, please. So it's 49.
Wait, I don't understand. Are you rewording it the opposite of the way?
All right.
They said it?
No, I'm giving you hypotheticals
Okay.
because sometimes what I've discovered, when you ask people, will they consider the full range of punishment? Immediately people will say no, but that's because they haven't thought of different fact scenarios. For example, if someone were charged with murder and you say, oh, somebody killed someone, can you consider 5 years? Usually people will say, absolutely not. But then when you give them a hypothetical, high school sweethearts, they've always loved each other. The wife has cancer. She's in a lot of pain. Everybody said there's nothing we can do for her. She's always going to be in pain. And she comes to her husband, please help me end it. Store some pills for me. Let me take those pills. Under Texas law, that's murder. So maybe in that case, you would be like, I'm not giving people a life sentence for that. I will consider the lower end of the range. But then if you have someone who grew up in school, kicked the dog, killed the cat, and the teachers were always like, I always knew they were going to kill somebody. and they've been in trouble, maybe you would say, maybe they deserve a higher end of punishment. So I'm just giving you two hypotheticals. Again, you don't know anything about this case. Those are two hypotheticals where maybe you would consider probation, maybe not. But there are different scenarios. Does everyone understand?
Yes.
So knowing that, is there anyone, not give, because you don't know any facts of the case, is there anyone who will not consider the full range of punishment in an aggravated sexual assault of a child case? If you cannot, after I've given you those hypotheticals, raise your card. All right, so it is 49. I'll start over here. 13, 17, 24, 33, 30, 34, 49, 50. Defense, you may continue.
Thank you, Judge. The hypothetical the judge gave was kind of confusing going back and forth, but I want to make sure absolutely clear. You've heard the allegations that the DA has talked about in this case. All right. One of the considerations of sentencing is probation. I want to make absolutely clear that there is no reservation with anybody in this jury panel based upon what the state has said could be the allegations in this case. So absent the people who have previously raised their hand, is there anybody else? Okay. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Any further questions, defense?
No, I'm finished, Judge. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have you all step outside. We may have to call a couple of you back in, so please do not go far. And actually, Deputy Laura, if you can make sure 12 and 72. All right, everyone, please rise for the jurors.